This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
That's the
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Global Village. I'm Buddy Kunanan. Now, you know, folks, usually in this show, you learn a lot about other countries, other places, through the eyes and words of our foreign guests, members of the international community here in the Philippines. Tonight is a special show, very special, because we're kicking off a regular series here on Global Village called Global Filipinos. And this is going to focus on the activities of the Filipino community overseas and the marks and the contributions their members are making in the international stage. Now, tonight, I said it's an extra special show because we have as our guest tonight a very, very, very good friend of the Global News Network and, of course, our parent company, First United Broadcasting Corporation, and, of course, extra special friend of my program, Global Village, none other than Ambassador Constancio Bong Vigno Jr.
Hi, Buddy.
Ambassador,
Yeah.
it's so nice to have you on the
Yeah.
show. And as I said, very special because for many reasons. I mean, you're such a good friend of GNN and of Global Village and, of course, our president, Philip Chen. And it's a pleasure to have you here, sir, tonight.
Oh, thank you very much, Buddy, for having me here,
My pleasure, Ambassador. Now, I actually have some photos I'm going to show. And it's going to
Okay.
it's nice photos of us in Africa, just to take us down a little nostalgia path before we begin our interview. So let's have these photos.
Okay.
So these are photos of us in Pretoria with, of course, GNN President Philip Chen.
Oh, that was our National Day.
Yes, that we had the pleasure
Yeah.
and the honor of attending.
Yes.
And this is us with members of the
I
Foreign
think
Ministry.
that was the Chief of Protocol of
in
Botswana.
Botswana.
Yeah.
Yes. And finally,
He-
outside the MFA in Botswana.
Botswana, he's now the Botswana ambassador to South Africa.
Oh, how
Yeah, I
interesting.
met him. A small world.
And now, of course, Mr. Chen, Philip Chen, the president of GNN, is now the honorary Consul
Honorary
General
Consul.
of Botswana
Yeah,
here in
Honorary
the
Consul
Philippines.
General for Botswana.
Thanks in a great part to your help, Ambassador, being Ambassador in Pretoria at the time.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to have you here, sir. And in fact, I said extra special because I've been doing this whole foreign affairs, international relations, and culture beat, so to speak, for going on 13, 14 years, starting in PTV4 when I started in government media. And you are the first Philippine ambassador ever that I've ever interviewed. And it's not because of lack of desire, it's because you guys are posted overseas, so it's sometimes very hard to catch you here in Manila. And so you're very special, sir, because you're my first Philippine ambassador guest. Bravo.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And nice insight, and we want to talk about your experiences in the service and your different postings. But before we jump into that, let's talk about you, Ambassador. Tell us a bit about who is Ambassador Constancio Vigno Jr.
Who is Constancio? A very good question, buddy. You know, I mean, you caught me on that. Constancio Vigno Jr. He loves to play music. You know, that was my first love. You know, I graduated from public school or city university, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. You know, started by former Manila Mayor Arsenio Lacson. You know, I entered the university 1970. So from there on, I took up bachelor's of AB Economics, and immediately after the university, after college, I joined government, then the National Grains Authority, which is now the National Food Authority. That in my first 2 years, quite young then, probably 19 years old. So I stayed there until I was, 20. And then at age 23, I applied for a position in the Department of Foreign Affairs. And interestingly, it was not my idea to join the Department of Foreign Affairs. Actually, it was my dad's idea. No, I didn't even know that he drafted a letter,
Yes,
application letter. And then he just asked me to sign it. I didn't know. Then after a few weeks, I got a call from the Department of Foreign Affairs if I was interested to take the Foreign Service Staff Officer examination, which I did. I was then with, I mentioned earlier, I was then with the late Ambassador Jun Juan Apolinario Lozada.
Yes.
Your good friend,
Yes.
Reynaldo Catapang.
Yes.
Ambassador Pedro Chan.
Yes.
Ambassador Jun Dilem, Catalino Dilem, who was our ambassador to Mexico
Yes.
a few years back. And our Consul General to Manado, Mr. Consul General Oscar Orsini. I'm sure you know him. You have so many friends in the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Yes, it feels like my second home because
Yes.
I know so many of your colleagues and people who've worked for you. And
your dad was a diplomat, an ambassador many times over.
yes, and what a journey it has been, Ambassador. And since your first joining the service, it's been you put in 42 years,
42
in
years,
the Department of
42
Foreign
years,
Affairs.
yeah.
Amazing, and a very colorful, exciting career with
Yeah.
many interesting posts.
It has brought me to interesting places. Like my first assignment was in Germany. In Germany, where I stayed in my first posting for 8 years, and then went home. I was assigned at the Office of European Affairs, and then after which I was deployed back again to Europe in nearby Bucharest, Romania. After Romania, I was sent back to Germany, probably because I had an advantage.
Yes.
Because I learned when I was in Germany, I tried my best, to be able to carry a conversation in German, and I took it seriously. So that's
Bravo.
why until now I could still carry on a good conversation with in German.
Yes. Ambassador, our paths really crossed in South Africa. And you were ambassador in Pretoria And what was that like, being posted in South Africa, in Pretoria, but having coverage over how many jurisdictions did you have?
Well, after Romania, back to Germany, and I came home, and then I went to Austria, again a German-speaking country, and then after 3 years, I was posted to Japan. That was my first and last Asian posting, and after Japan, I came back to Manila, stayed 2 years, then went back to Europe in Athens, Greece, where I was minister and consul general. And from Athens, Greece, I went straight to South Africa, where I became ambassador.
How was that like, ambassador? How was serving as Philippine ambassador in South Africa like?
Well, South Africa is that part of the world. It's really, in general, it's a very interesting country, no? I covered 9 countries. I covered Lesotho, I covered Swaziland, I covered Botswana, I covered Mozambique, I covered
Madagascar?
as non-resident ambassador.
Yes, yes.
Zambia,
Yes.
Zimbabwe, Namibia, of course South Africa. No? It has very great potentials. Each country. But since I was based in Pretoria, which is the administrative capital of South Africa, because they have the parliament is in Cape Town.
Yes.
The judiciary is in Bloemfontein, for Orange.
Yes,
County.
Orange Free State.
Yeah, Orange State. But of course, I concentrated in the administrative capital, where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is. I spoke with several important people, like officials from the Foreign Ministry. Well, of course, naturally, I'm from the embassy, so I really have to be in touch with them on a regular basis. It is a country with such
Absolutely.
I made many friends there. The ASEAN community is very active. We have Singapore there, we have Malaysia, we have Vietnam, Philippines, Myanmar, and 2 others now.
It's a pity, ambassador, that in South Africa, for instance, a lot of our ASEAN neighbors are really involved. Like Malaysia has a lot
Singapore,
of
and Vietnam.
business interests.
Yes.
And I hope this is something that we can unlock in the Philippines, potential of Philippine investors going to South Africa. But interesting, ambassador, you mentioned friends, because we actually have a video of a good friend of yours. He sent it to us, the show now, and we're going to play the video just before we go on break. When we come back, we're going to talk about your other posting in the United Arab Emirates. Before that, here's a video straight from Johannesburg.
Ambassador Vigno. I'm Stephen Shamovitz, the Honorary Consul General in the Western Cape, Cape Town, and I have the honor of sending you this message from the southernmost tip of the African continent, Cape Town, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, where you serve as Ambassador of the Philippines to South Africa. Ambassador, what viewers possibly don't know is the contribution that Filipinos made to the South Africa that we know today. In 1839, some Filipino seafarers waded ashore at a little town called Simonstown in False Bay, Western Cape, and made their way along the shore to a little hamlet called Cork Bay, where they established the fishing industry in the Western Cape. And today, Filipino bloodlines flow famously through our South African Cape Town citizens. I send you greetings from the community leaders and from the community at large, and wish you well with your retirement. God bless, and thank you for all you did to and for the Filipino nation. Thank you.
Good evening. You know, we here in the Philippine Embassy in Abu Dhabi, and of course, together with the Philippine Consulate General here in Dubai, are so fortunate to because of having been or being associated with a group of dynamic young people, no, who are involved in establishing a business school, the first of its kind here in the United Arab Emirates. It's actually a group of Filipinos who are aiming high and urging Filipinos to not stop learning. And that's really very important for all of us here. If we would like to elevate the status of our fellow Filipinos here in the United Arab Emirates, we should look the right way by never stopping to learn. So I urge our kabayans to have a look at the program of Philippine Business School. This is Philippine Business School is very much associated with LaSalle. So, fellow kabayans, wag po tayong tumigil sa matuto ng bagong bagay. Nandito po ang Philippine Business School sa Dubai. Hanapin niyo lang po ang liderato ng Philippine Business School. Maraming salamat po.
Welcome back to Global Village. I'm Buddy Kunana, and tonight is the launch of our series called Global Filipinos. And of course, joining us is that gentleman you saw in the video. He's here in the studio today, former Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates, Ambassador Constancio Bong Vino Jr. Ambassador Vino, we welcome back first to our second segment, and we showed some nice videos. Ending our first segment, surprise, surprise, good friend of yours.
Was a surprise, huh? Especially with our honorary consul based in Cape Town.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a good friend, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
He always accompanied me to the parliamentary sessions, you know, every February.
Yes.
Yeah, I think thrice.
Yes, of course.
At one time, we went there together, no? With
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Then visited the wine estate.
We did in
did.
Parl.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
outside
yeah.
Cape Town.
I think we slept there overnight.
We did in a
did,
beautiful
no?
estate.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was Frede and Lust.
Yes, that was the name of the wine estate
Yeah.
that they own actually.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Freude and Lust, meaning joy and happiness. or
Happiness,
something like that.
yes.
Freude and Lust. And that video of Stephen Shamovitz, honorary Philippine Consul General, was taken in his lodge in Krugersdorp, which I know you've had a chance to visit. Stunning place. And he sends his greetings all the way from Cape Town and, of course, Johannesburg. And then,
Thank you for that. Huh?
my pleasure, sir. And then we also showed a video of you gracing an event in Dubai when you
Yeah.
were posted in Abu Dhabi. And this is a Philippine business school.
But that was in Dubai, I think.
Yes, in Dubai.
In Dubai.
yes. Which leads us to our talk now on your job and your work and your stint in UAE, which is one of the most important of Gulf states when we talk about ties with the Philippines. You know? How long were you in Abu Dhabi, Ambassador?
Almost 3 years, if not 3 years. Huh? Probably 3 years. Yes, because I was extended, no, for
Yes.
another 6 months. So
Yes.
let's make it 3 years.
How fast time flies, Ambassador.
How fast time flies. I remember Consul General Chien, you know, who even hosted a despedida party for me, no? And you were in that dinner.
Yes.
You were in that dinner.
And
It seemed just like yesterday.
and now
and
it's
now,
fast forward, and
3 years.
but you have such a legacy of work and fantastic accomplishments, and the community there loves you. But question I want to ask you is, I remember talking to you before your posting in UAE, and you told me you actually, it was a posting that you were looking forward to, that being posted in UAE was something that you really, you know, it was what you said, that something you wanted to cap your
Yeah.
your long service in the DFA. You know.
I look at the countries that I have been assigned to, no? Germany, Romania, Austria, Greece, Japan. So, you know, even South Africa. Eh, the most Filipinos that I have encountered was in Japan. No? 60,000. What's 60,000 compared to 700,000 in the United Arab Emirates? No? So I thought to myself, I would like to cap my career in the foreign service by going to a place where there are hundreds of thousands of Filipinos to serve. After all, government service is, you know, serving your own people, diba? That's the very principle to it. So I chose the United Arab Emirates. And fortunately, I was able to get it.
Yes.
Because I applied for the position, and when I wanted really to cap my career like that with a, ano ba tawag ito? With a bang.
Yeah.
And make my mark
and
in the foreign service.
Yes, and I remember when I was talking to you about this before you left, and even before you left, I asked you, sir, which post would you look forward to? And he said, I want something in the Middle East.
In the Middle East.
And I thought, initially I thought, wow, because a lot of, I know that, you know, as you know, I know some of your colleagues, and some of them tell me privately that they want their last post to be quiet, you know, kind of transition into retirement, so to speak. And to be in a post like UAE, which is really a lot of work. Correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of work. 700,000 Filipinos, the second after Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
we have probably close to 1 million there. Oh,
What was it like, Ambassador?
it was like
to handle the
starting your
affairs of-
day
yeah.
at 7:30 in the morning and ending it at 11 o'clock in the evening, because during the day you have in the embassy itself, no, especially in the consular area, and then the assistance to nationals area. We have two there, consular and the assistance to nationals. Consular, those who are applying for
Sure,
authentication
yes.
or
Yes.
passports. We have, on the average, we have 500 people coming to my office every day. Especially those with problems, no? Because you cannot expect a staff
Yes.
member to make decisions. No? So some are most of them are overstaying. Others get the bad side, you know,
Sure.
being not treated quite well.
Employee-employer problems.
Employer-employee problems. No? And that you have to deal with on a daily basis. And at the end of the day, when you have entertained about people coming to your office asking for help, because lower level you can make that decision. At the end of the day, you feel already
Exhausted, I'm sure. I'm sure.
dissipated, probably.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And then that's not the end of it. You still have some social obligations. There is a national day. You know, there are 140 foreign missions in the United Arab Emirates.
So that means, Ambassador, almost every other day you've
Yes.
got
Some kind
party
of
to
party,
go to, or
national
an
day,
event.
or a dinner that you have to
That
return.
you cannot miss.
Yeah,
You cannot miss.
You know,
Like
you
that.
get invited,
Yes.
so you have to return the favor.
We're showing now some videos of the 19th Independence Day celebration at
that
the
was,
Khalidia Mall, in Abu
Khalidia
Dhabi
Mall.
in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, Khalidia Mall. Yeah.
And it looks like, Ambassador, you had a very vibrant Filipino community there.
Indeed.
Active
Yeah.
with.
Especially in Dubai. Dubai, we have 400,000 Filipinos in Dubai. And more than 400,000 That's in the Northern Emirates. In Abu Dhabi, we have about a little over 200,000.
Still big?
Still big, but fortunately, we have a consulate general there. No, that takes care of the
needs of the
needs of
Pinoys.
our Filipinos there.
Yes.
But sometimes you can't help it that they also come over to the embassy,
Of course,
and you
of
cannot
course.
just say, no, you are under the jurisdiction of the Philippine consulate, but they're already there.
They're there already, absolutely.
Yeah, you can't really.
Absolutely,
You have to provide the service that they are requesting.
Would you say, Ambassador, this was your this is
The
your busiest
most
post?
challenging.
And
The most challenging.
what was the most challenging thing about being posted in Abu Dhabi, aside from the demands of, the needs of the Filipino community?
The most challenging.
Yes.
No, actually, it's the it's what you give. No, it's what's coming out from you, from your person, what you provide to the Filipinos. No? That's the most challenging. You should be healthy, actually. You know, if you have issues with your health, a post like United Arab Emirates is not the place for you. So I tried my best to be healthy by doing by going to the gym, exercising a bit, doing a little boxing here and there, to keep myself.
Of course.
To measure up to the demands of the work. You cannot say aside from ATN. The
Yes.
most challenging aspect there is assistance to nationals work and consular work.
Absolutely. Yes, I can just imagine the kind of really
The
exhausting
others
work.
are on autopilot. It's very easy to deal with
Well,
with government people.
Well, no wonder, Ambassador, time flew by very fast. When you're
Yeah.
busy in a post like that, then really days just go by. Sometimes.
And
you don't
I
notice.
wanted that post.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ambassador, what are the aside from the obviously UAE is home to, as you mentioned, 700,000 Filipinos. What are the other pillars of our ties with the United Arab Emirates?
People to people relations. The 700,000 Filipinos already serve as our ambassadors there because you get a glimpse. The UAE people, the Emiratis, they get a glimpse of our culture. They don't even have to go to the Philippines anymore.
Absolutely.
Just to know how Filipinos are as a people,
Yes.
and as what the Philippines is as a nation, as a country. That's one pillar. Now, let's bring that to another level. If it falls under pillar of our foreign policy, yeah, of course, yes. Socio-cultural. The first pillar is security, political security, economic diplomacy, and that's. But we're the most active when it comes to socio-cultural because of people-to-people relationship.
Of course. Very good.
I have had high officials who visited the United Arab Emirates. Former Secretary Perfecto Yasay had an official working visit there.
Yes.
Former Vice President Jojo Binay
Yes.
visited United Arab Emirates. Secretary Cayetana also visited.
And
United
talking about the visits, I'm sure it must have been a tremendously busy country because, of course, you've got Emirates flying out of Dubai and
Yeah.
Etihad.
And there is
from Abu
always
Dhabi.
something happening in Dubai and in the United Arab and in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
There are always conventions, conferences. There's always
Absolutely.
something
I mean, it's become a
happening.
hub, really.
That's why
It's
cabinet
become a hub.
members are coming.
Yes.
Like Secretary of Defense Delphine Lorenzana was there, Energy Secretary Kusi, of course Secretary Bello, Bello III,
Yes.
our Labor Secretary.
Of course, of course.
And of course our
Yes.
Foreign Secretary. You know.
Yes.
So in the last part of my assignment, deployment there, we were able to sign agreements. No? I think two agreements. No?
Yes. Ambassador, sadly, we've come to the end of our second segment. We pause for break. When we come back, we'll talk about the plans that you put in place for Philippine-UAE relations. And also we'll talk about careers in the DFA for people watching
sure.
or very interested to embark on a journey such as yours in the field of foreign service.
Okay.
So guys, stick around because more of Global Filipinos with Ambassador Constancio Vigno when Global Village returns.
Hello mga kapamilya, si Clarice de Guzman po ito at magbabalik po ako sa Caliday Mall sa Abu Dhabi this coming June 30 na po yan, Friday, para sa celebration ng Philippine Independence Day. So sana po magkita-kita po tayo dyan. And of course, pagkakataon na rin yung pong sumali sa audition, Abu Dhabi audition ng Global Tawag ng Tanghalan. So magkita-kita po tayo dyan kung pali mga kapamilya. This coming June 30 na po yan. Hope to see you soon.
Kaya po, inaaniyahan po namin kayong lahat na dumalo sa ating pagdiriwang ng 119th anniversary of Philippine Independence. Kita-kita po tayong lahat. Maraming salamat po.
We tend to associate the word diplomacy with embassies, international relations, and high politics, but it really refers to a set of skills that matter in many areas of daily life, especially at the office and on the landing outside the slammed doors of loved ones' bedrooms. Diplomacy is the art of advancing an idea or cause without unnecessarily inflaming passions or unleashing a catastrophe. It involves an understanding of the many facets of human nature that can undermine agreement and stoke conflict, and a commitment to unpicking these with foresight and grace. The diplomat remembers first and foremost that some of the vehemence with which we can insist on having our way draws energy from an overall sense of not being respected or heard within a relationship. We will fight with particular tenacity and apparent meanness over a so-called small thing when we have the sense that the other person has failed to honour our wider need for appreciation and esteem. Behind our fierce way of arguing may lie a frustrated plea for affection. Diplomats know the intensity with which humans crave respect, and so though they may not always be able to agree with us, they take the trouble to show that they have bothered to see how things look through our eyes. They recognise that it's almost as important to people to feel heard as to win their case. We'll put up with a lot once someone has demonstrated that they at least know how we feel. Diplomats therefore put extraordinary effort into securing the health of the overall relationship so that smaller points can be conceded along the way without attracting feelings of untenable humiliation. They know how much beneath pitched fights over money or entitlements, schedules or procedures, a demand for...
Welcome back to Global Village. I'm Buddy Cunanan. Tonight's topic is Global Filipinos. And with us is one real Global Filipino in the person of Ambassador Constancio Boy Vigno Jr. Ambassador, welcome back to our third and final segment. And we showed the video on diplomacy because we want to talk to you now and enlighten the viewers about careers in the DFA. What is it like to be a diplomat? How do you become a diplomat? What is the reality behind, seeing the ambassador, what goes on behind the scenes in the workings of the Foreign Service? So I want to kick...
It's not actually a well-kept secret, no? During our time, only a few groups of people knew about, the Department of Foreign Affairs. When I say that, only a few groups of people had or developed an interest in joining the Department of Foreign Affairs. Well, fortunately, no, my father was reading Manila Bulletin then, and he read an announcement, no, that the Department of Foreign Affairs is recruiting staff assistants, no, the
Yes.
support.
Yes.
So we drafted a application letter and then sent it to the department until I got that invitation. And as I mentioned earlier, in that group was the late Ambassador
A lot of big
Losada,
names. A lot of big names. Yes.
Pete Chan, Reynaldo Catapang, and Oscar Orsini. So how do you become a Foreign Service officer?
Yes.
Yes.
In your case, Ambassador, you took the route. You were first a Foreign Service Staff Officer.
Foreign Service staff
And then you
officer,
eventually-
just like Losada,
Yes.
Jun Losada, just like Katapang, just like Pedro Chan,
Oh,
just like, yeah, we
so
were
all Foreign Service Staff officers, and then you
yes.
became Foreign
Yeah,
Service Officer.
But
Now,
then slowly they were passing the examination.
what is the difference, Ambassador, between the two, between a Foreign Service Officer and Foreign Service Staff Officer?
Foreign Service Staff Officer, if you choose to stay in that level, then you will retire as a Foreign Service Staff Officer. But if you would like to aspire for a higher position,
To become ambassador?
you take a special examination.
To become ambassador
which is
someday.
the foreign, yes,
Yes.
which is called the Foreign Service Officer Examination, FSO examination. That's quite it's a tough examination, no?
Yes.
Very tough.
It has a reputation for being one of, if not the toughest, civil service examinations of the
It's,
Philippine government.
One of the
Or
toughest.
the. I mean, people say it is the.
Yeah.
It is the toughest. Okay, Ambassador, when you talk about the Foreign Service Officer
Officers
exam,
yeah.
what is covered by this
Yeah,
exam?
Everything. If you are a wide reader, or you like to read, or you have an interest in writing, most probably you will have an advantage because it covers history, it covers Philippine conditions, it covers it covers international politics, it covers international finance, it covers foreign language, it covers Filipino. There's also a portion in Filipino, no? You really have to write good in Filipino. I'm sure we all do. No?
Well, you'd be surprised, sir. But it seems like it's very comprehensive.
Yeah,
The
very
coverage is,
comprehensive examination. The first portion, during our time, it was probably simpler. You just have to take like an IQ exam or a GMAT exam.
Yes,
You have
yes.
to pass that. Before that, there comes an interview, personal interview. Maybe thousands will go for interview, and then it's going to be whittled down to several hundreds.
Yes.
And then you take this IQ exam, or like a GMAT one.
Yes, yes.
And then it's going to be whittled down to another few hundreds, and until and then if you qualified, you take the psychological examination.
Seems like a lot of examinations, huh?
Yeah, psychological. Wow.
But the vetting process,
Yeah,
as
that's
you
the
mentioned, I
vetting
mean, so many
process, yeah,
stages
yeah.
that you have to go
Yeah.
through. But Ambassador, I'm sure a lot of people watching are probably entertaining the thought of joining DFA. I mean, it seems like a very nice life. You get to travel, be posted overseas, have all these wonderful experiences, and serve the country at the same time. So it's like, it's a nice experience. How does one prepare for the exam? I mean, it's very comprehensive. Can one prepare for it? Is it the kind of exam that you would need, you can prepare for, or is it something that really is, as you mentioned, it has to be a lifestyle thing. You like to read.
We
you like
even have the diplomats who are nursing graduates,
Oh wow.
Yeah, or doctors, or different or artists, architects, engineers,
Lawyers, of course.
Lawyers.
Yes,
We have a lot of
yes.
lawyers there.
Yes.
Even our good friend, Eddie.
Of
Eddie
course,
De Vega.
who's now ambassador in
To-
Belgium.
Yeah, to Belgium, you know.
Eddie De Vega.
Eddie De
yes.
Vega. You know. You have
The-
the same interest, by the way.
The son of the late Guillermo
Guillermo
De
Guillermo
Vega,
De
very
Vega, the
famous
former,
man.
former presidential assistant of former President Ferdinand Marcos. You know, so it takes a lot of preparations, but you for as long as you have a bachelor's degree and 2 years experience, you can apply. No? But then the vetting process is quite, there's a personal interview, then there's the GMAT exam or IQ exam.
Yes.
And then there's the psychological. If you pass that, then there's the examination in English, just English. Philippine conditions. You have to know what's happening in the Philippines. You have to know. When you say Philippine condition, it covers everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Economic, cultural,
yeah,
social,
yeah.
political.
Yeah, everything.
So it seems like, someone really has to be more of like a master of many fields or jack of all trades to really hurdle
When
this
I
very
reviewed
tough
for the
exam.
examination, I took a leave of absence for 1 month. And
Just to brush up on facts and figures
stayed
and things
in
like
my
that.
apartment. Didn't go out. Just read and
Yes.
read and read and read.
Ambassador, what is it like to be a diplomat? I mean, what are the advantages and disadvantages, if any, to the life in the service?
First of all, you carry diplomatic passport. You know?
That helps.
No, you know. Sorry.
No, I
just,
mean, as a traveler.
on the bright side.
Absolutely,
on
as
the
a
bright
traveler,
side,
that
yeah.
helps.
You
speaking as a traveler.
You feel special, that you belong to a premier agency of government. And never in my life have I seen so many smart people. When I was in college, I didn't take college really seriously. I thought I was so smart. But then I met these guys from the foreign affairs. I couldn't believe it. They're really so smart that I felt so insecure. Really?
I can imagine. When you put it in a room full of, bright,
Yeah.
aggressive, driven people.
So, Tess De Vega, Ed De Vega, you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
absolutely. Of course. And your colleagues.
Ray Katapang,
Absolutely.
Jun Lusada. You've met all these people, and I know whereof I speak. Yes, very interesting career. You've got to travel to different countries and bring your family with you. As a junior officer, it's all hard work, because you do everything for higher people than you.
Well, as in any profession, like
Yes,
even a
yes,
corporate,
yeah,
or let's say
yeah.
you join the military,
Yeah.
as you go
But
up
you always aspire for that top.
Absolutely. In private sector, president and CEO, in DFA, ambassador,
Yeah.
army general, but I think it's very satisfying,
Yeah.
ambassador. I mean, being, as you mentioned, being able to serve the country and to promote and protect the interests.
Yes.
At the same time, it's an adventure. I think the DFA is
It
probably an
it
adventure.
It was quite a long journey, 42 years, of being connected with the premier agency of the Republic of the Philippines. And really, I'm very fortunate to have been connected with the Department of Foreign Affairs. The agency has been very kind to me and my family. Quality of life, especially, it's good. And the lessons learned.
Absolutely.
From people around you, I start, you develop that high self-esteem.
And
When your
Ambassador,
people,
and just the life experience of being
yes.
posted to all these places that
All these places, yes.
Regular folks
Friendships,
would only go as a
yeah.
visit, but you could actually live there and
Yes,
experience
and
the life
experience
and
the
the
life,
culture.
yeah.
That's priceless.
and learning a foreign language and
Yes,
that.
yes. And it's also good for the family, you know, they can
Good for the family,
broadens the
yeah.
kids' children's horizons and so on. Okay, disadvantages. What are the, because people, when they look at the foreign service, they think it's about cocktail parties, attending national days, and so, and you know, the glamorous side, that's what people see. What are the downsides,
Yeah,
if ever, if
merong,
any?
there's a kind of humor. There's humor to that. The humor side to that. You know, I remember my friend, Ambassador Cristobal, our former ambassador to Egypt, who is now the Philippine Consul General in New York. He was writing a speech for Secretary Xiason. Then he wrote, people think that the Department of Foreign Affairs is only about authentication, passports, you know,
Visas.
things like that, issuing visas when you're abroad. But we also attend receptions. So, you know, of course, reception is part of,
Of course,
you know,
of course.
dinners, parties,
Networking.
networking. It's a prestigious, the title is good. You know.
What about ambassador? When people who want to join DFA should keep in mind that they will spend most of their professional lives, adult lives, outside the Philippines, away from
Yes,
family,
yes,
away
yes,
from
yes,
friends,
yes.
away from home. How is that? I mean, what is that experience like, being away for so long from your roots, from
At
ties that
first,
bind you?
you get homesick at first, no? But after a while, you will acquire, or you will get the feel of it, you know, being away from home. You will finally the realization that this is now my life. This is now my life.
Because not everyone would want that. Although they, you know, the job may interest them.
Yeah,
but
we
it's
have few
difficult, huh?
colleagues who left the service
Who leave the
very
service,
early in their
yes.
first 3 or 4 years because their calling was different. You know, was different. Some lawyers, they joined the United Nations, the UN. We have some who went back to the university and to teach, you know, became professors.
Yes.
But in my case, of course, I realized that I had something in me where I'm good at, where I'm quite comfortable. Aside from playing, being a lead guitarist, no.
I love Ambassador, the diversity. When you said
Yeah.
that we have DFA FSOs who are nurses,
Who are-
doctors,
yeah,
architect,
yeah,
lawyer,
yeah,
musician.
architects,
I mean,
musician,
and that brings vibrancy, I think, to the organization. When you have people of diverse backgrounds put together.
I think that should be the formula. You know, when you hire people, no, when you entice or encourage people to join the foreign service, the diversity actually.
What is your advice to, let's say, young people today, you know, who are considering a career in the Department of Foreign Affairs?
Yeah, of course, their being bright is already a given.
Ah,
no?
absolutely. You
It's
can't pass
already
a
a
test
given.
like
You
that
can-
and not
yeah,
be
yeah,
bright.
it's already a given. I think they have to have more experience. No? They have to be that maturity. It requires a certain kind of maturity. Now we require, before they could even take the foreign service examination, they must be able to have that 2-year experience in government service or in the private sector. You know, 2 years experience.
Yes,
Because
yes.
before, if you were 23 or 22, you pass the foreign service officer's examination. You wait for 3 years. No? You must be 25 before
really?
you would
Okay.
be able to enter.
Okay.
Yeah, taken in.
Yes.
Then you become vice consul at age 25. But now, for a while, that requirement was taken out.
All right.
It
Yes.
was returned.
Okay.
You have to have the 2 years
And I think it's good because I mean I know personally and it's been done. Some people out of college, first thing out of college, take the foreign service exam, enter DFA. I mean it's good. It's good career-wise because you spend a lot of time in the service. But I can see the wisdom in having you know some out-of-school experience in the real world before joining the foreign service. I think.
You remember the Ambassador Licaros?
Yes. Yes.
He was a singer, you know. Madrigal, I think, and he plays the guitar.
Well, Ambassador, one of these days, maybe if Consul General Philip Chen will have a party, I hope, and there's some musicians there, I hope we can
jam.
We can see, can finally hear your musical prowess, sir.
Didn't you see it on Facebook?
Yes, I did. I did.
Yeah.
I did. Okay.
I played Hotel California.
Ambassador, we've come to the end of our show, but before we go, I'm going to leave the audience with another very special surprise video from your good friends in the United Arab Emirates. So, see you again next time. Take it away, Pinoy community in United Arab Emirates.
Hi, we are from Timeless Elegance Event Management. I am Len and this is Brian. Timeless Elegance Event Management is a Filipino-owned company here in Abu Dhabi, UAE.
Nakilala namin si Amba way back 2016 nung nag-celebrate kami ng 1-year anniversary as a company. So, sinelebrate namin siya sa OWA to give back sa mga kababayan natin. At the same time, nandun po si Amba to support us sa activity na yon. Amba was so impressive sa term niya dito sa UAE. Maraming nasasaya mga OFW kasi malapit siya sa mga tao. At the same time, marami siyang natulungan mga distressed OFW, mga kababayan natin na kailangan ng umuwi. So, with the record siguro, as far as I know, is more than 500 people, distressed OFW, ang napauwi niya to the Philippines.
Good afternoon. My name is Jobert Isguera. I'm presently assigned here at Batangas, DFA Lipa. Alam niyo po si Ambassador Bong ay naging kasamahan ko sa Abu Dhabi, sa Philippine Embassy Abu Dhabi noong 2015 hanggang siya po ay mag-retire nitong 2018. Siya po talaga ay isang taong mapapagkatiwalaan at para po siyang naging ama, pangalawang ama sa akin. Napakabait na tao at talaga maaasahan. At wala ho akong masabing hindi maganda sa kanya dahil lahat po ng aking mga natutunan sa kanya ay talagang nasa aking puso't isipan. Para po kay Ambassador Bong, maraming salamat sir. At kayo po ay isa sa mga naging ambassador ko nung ako'y nasa foreign assignment sa Abu Dhabi PE. Maraming salamat po sa inyo at mabuhay kayo sir. Thank you.
Ambassador Bong Bigno served as the father of the Filipino community here in the UAE.
He is a package of a dynamic, dedicated, and excellent leader.
He emphasized more on helping so much for the distressed OFW, not just a role model to the Filipino community, but a good husband and a father to his family.